Have you ever heard the phrase, don't judge a book by its cover? The reality is that people do, and your book title is directly related to the quality of your cover. Needless to say, your book needs a great title. For nonfiction authors, this is crucial because you need to understand the flow of how someone goes from the title to purchasing your book. So on today's episode, we're going to review how you can turn a bad book title into a great one. And at the end of this episode, we'll be answering a listener-submitted question on launching a book. This is Your Path to Publish. I'm your host, Zach Christensen. For the past decade, our team has guided authors just like you to find the best path to publish your book, get people excited to buy it even before it launches, and to turn it into the ultimate business card to build your business and your legacy. If you are ready to get your book out of your head and into people's hands, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. A few years ago, during the holiday season, we went over to my in-laws' house for a party, and my father-in-law had made for dessert some figgy pudding. Made it in the crock pot. It was a new recipe. Thought it was something that they would try. And to look at it, it did not look that great. It was dark. It was kind of sludgy, to be honest, and it just really didn't look that great. We dished up the bowls. I didn't have high expectations. And then I tried it. And it was good. It was absolutely delicious. Much better than it looked. And everyone liked it. And honestly, I look forward to the time where we can have it again. And I relate that story for you as authors because you may have an amazing book, one that you've poured your heart and soul into. And that can help your book. It can help it move. It can help it sell. But if you don't have a great title, if you don't have a title that will resonate with your audience, then it's going to be tougher to sell your book. So what I want to talk to you about today is making sure that you understand why a title is crucial. It may seem obvious, but I want to review it. The types of titles that you can have or title approaches that you can have for coming up with your title. Much of what I talk about will adjust based on your specific situation and the size of your author platform, but coming up with a great book title is the same. And even if you have a large trusted following, you still need to have a book title that makes sense and relates to the book's contents. Here's why. Searchability. You have a balance of keywords and the human factor in your title. You want people to be able to type in something related to the problem that your audience is having or the solution that they are potentially looking for, and your book will come up. But you also want a title that's just not stuffed with keywords, but one that can be understandable, immediately relatable, and makes sense for your book. So the human factor. Clarity. You want the title to be clear. Next is the stop scrolling factor, as I like to call it. Most books are bought online, so if someone types in a phrase to find a book that can solve their problem and yours comes up, you want to make sure that the title will stop them from scrolling, either because of it's an interesting title, it's exactly what they're looking for, or it's something that just stops them in their tracks. Whatever it is, it just needs them to stop scrolling and take the next step of clicking to learn more about your book. And as you think about the purchase of a book, the flow goes from looking at the title, which is the headline of your book, going to the subtitle, which is the promise, going to the description, which is the features and benefits, and then making a purchase. So everything that underlies and support that is the good title, a good cover, which we'll cover the full cover in a future episode, but the title is where it all begins. There are lots of different ways to approach titles, and I'm going to mention a few here. And you can learn more at juxtabook.com about the different ways to approach titles. So one way is the impactful message title. This is something that conveys a strong and memorable message. Next is the identity title. This is a reflection of the identity of you as the author or of something around the content of the book that's a reflection of the identity of your reader. Some examples of this might be like a character-driven title. This focuses on a central character or figure that embodies the theme of the book. So for lots of nonfiction authors, this might be around you. If you have something specific, it could be around a memoir or a hybrid memoir. Theme-based titles is another identity title, as an example. This highlights the central theme or concept of the book in the title. So something like that is most change management books have the word change in the title. If there's a book about entrepreneurs, entrepreneur is most likely going to be in the title. Another way to approach it is the explicit benefit title. You clearly state what the reader will gain. The intriguing title. You spark curiosity and interest. Someone who does this very well and has built a brand with this around a lot of their books is Seth Godin. He has, for example, a book called Linchpin. That's intriguing. What does that word mean? Another approach is the emotional appealing titles. It's where you evoke strong emotions or feelings that resonate with the reader. Question titles. This poses a compelling question that the book answers. This could be around something with how to be a better speaker. Another book I've seen around it is How to Talk Like TED, which is in reference to giving a TED or TEDx talk. Another approach is benefit-oriented titles. This is focusing on the primary benefit or result that the reader will achieve. So in applying this and going about this, make it fun. Go out there, pick a few of these approaches, and come up with titles for your book related to each of those approaches and see what stands out, see what sticks out to you, see what others say. Taking your title and turning a bad one into a great one takes time. It takes experimenting. It takes writing your book and then coming up with a title. It comes with going through the editing process and realizing you may need to adjust the title. It will come. Just keep going at it and you will have a title that is great and will capture the interest of your audience. And if you have a book that's just as good or better than your title, then people are going to talk about it. On next week's episode, we're going to go through the same exercise and talk about the subtitle and break that down into how the title and subtitle relate, how sometimes there's crossover between them, but then I'm going through approaches for the step-by-step title. Now, if you want to get the full list of the title structures and potentially get a sneak peek of the subtitle ones, go to www.juxtabook.com/title guide. And if you have any questions about a recent episode that you'd like to submit for me to answer on the future podcast episode, visit juxtabook.com/yourpathtopublish and click the appropriate button to leave your question. You can also refer to the show notes.
There are so many ways to launch a book. How do you know what path to go down to make the most noise? Are you using your social network? Is it worth it to pay for ads? Speaking engagements? What are the kinds of things to really help make some noise so that the book will sell at the launch and also really have legs going forward?
This is a great question, and it's probably one of the things that contribute to author procrastination and creates a lot of anxiety, especially after you put in a lot of hard work to write your book. And now you have to do the other half and launch it. So just like launching a book, there are a lot of different answers I could give you, but the shortest answer is that it takes persistence and understanding that there is no one best path for every author. It all depends on you as the author to determine your goals, budget, and really the effort that you're willing to put into making your book successful. Being an author is an overnight success over a 10-year period. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't any methods out there that you can still use to have an amazing launch. At Juxtabook, we follow 4 steps to help our authors put their launch plan together. First, launching a book is all about connection. Second, conducting an author platform audit. Third, rating the level of those connections. And fourth, determining the activities that will create the highest engagement. So let's start with the first one. Launching a book is all about creating connection. Now, this is more of a foundational principle, but you need to understand that launching a book is all about creating, building, and enhancing your new and current connections, wherever they are. Understanding these relationships that you've built throughout your career with friends and family and colleagues will really help you unlock what activities are going to be the highest value for you and for those that you've connected with over the years. Because as you as the author, you also need to enjoy what activities you're doing. That leads us to the second step, conducting an author platform audit. And this is really where we're getting into the meat of identifying your activities. So what you're going to do is you're going to list out all the platforms where you have some degree of influence. And as you list these out, you're going to split them into 2 camps. The platforms you have the most influence over and the platforms you have the least influence over. Now, the platforms you have the most and highest influence over will be things such as your author website, your blog, your email newsletter, a podcast that you host, a video series that you are in control of, and other value-based content that you consistently publish. These are the ones that you have the most influence over because you own them. You make the decisions on your website, who your email is sent to, and what content is put in your blog, your podcast, and your email list. Now, you'll notice I didn't include social media. Granted, you do have control over what you post on social media, but you do not have influence over the control of who engages with it, how it's distributed, and frankly, what the future of social media is and how your content will continue to be distributed. So therefore, social media falls in the second camp of platforms you have because you have the least influence over it. Now, additional areas that you can include in this author platform audit will be the communities you're involved in, whether that's online or offline, organizations, associations, or networks that you have enjoyed and being a part of and that you have consistently engaged with over a significant period of time. The third step in this audit will be to rate your connection level with each of the platforms that you have on your list. So use a scale from 1 to 3, with 1 being the highest connection level. This will help you understand where your book launch opportunities are and how much work you'll need to put in before, during, and after your book launches. This will help you understand where your book launch opportunities are and how much work you'll need to put in before, during, and after your book launches to create that connection. Now, once you've completed your author platform audit, the next step is to create marketing and launch activities that will engage and connect with those most likely to buy your book on each of those platforms. Now, this is where you will determine which launch activities could be the most effective, such as Facebook ads, Amazon ads, being on podcasts, or booking speaking engagements that will help you increase that level of connection with that target audience. Now, remember, this isn't a last-minute process. It's crucial to start planning your book launch at least 6 months in advance. There are too many authors who reach out to me and that I connect with that are 2 or 3 months out. It's still possible to have an effective book launch, but the further out you plan your launch, the better launch that you will have and the better marketing you will have after your launch. So to wrap up, launching a book is all about connections. Conduct an author platform audit. Rate the level of your connection that you have with each of those in your author platform audit. And then finally, determine the activities that will create the highest engagement. So thank you for your question and good luck on your book launch. Thank you for listening. Go out there, dust off your manuscript, and turn it into a bestseller that grows your business.